I was, okay, where could I go? Where could I go? You know, I mean, I would text. I mean, I'd be out and I'd text Mike. I'd be like, I'm at Jimmy's, or I'm at the Scott's Club, or I'm at wherever. Anybody just to come and hang out with me, you know, it could be for 5 minutes. I didn't give a shit.
Did you go in the same bar to get your supply, or did you go to different bars to try to hide? This is gonna hurt. It's time for the Suffering Podcast. We work so hard to reach our goals, knowing that the conclusion will bring about a better form of life. Passing test after test, trying to find that sustainable homeostasis. Never knowing what the future holds, just trying to make it through today. As clarity unclogs our minds and wipes the clouds from our eyes, we see life much differently. Without the skewed, chemically induced form of reality, step by step, our life begins to improve. With each new day, that beautiful horizon becomes more and more real. One day we wake up, and the past is a distant memory. Life has become more fulfilling as we see possibilities rather than failures. Our future shines brightest with the addition of hope. I'm Kevin Donaldson here with Mike Falaise, and welcome to the Suffering Podcast. If you're a fan of overcoming adversity and overcoming suffering, then we're for you, because that's what we do here, and that's the stories that we highlight. So do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, please comment, ring the bell so you can get notified of all of our new content, and now you can join. Follow us on all social media so you can find out what we're up to. Tonight we welcome back one of our four-timer.
Fourth time.
And that's Mr. Bobby Crudele, a gentleman who I've come to admire and fear. Before we get into anything, let's throw a big shout out to our marquee sponsor. That's Toyota of Hackensack. We don't trust anybody as police officers, but we do trust them. So go to toyotahackensack.com. Let them find you a car. They are good guys over there.
Bob, were those little fringe things bothering you?
Does it do it to you too?
No.
I'm just peeling them. I'm peeling your sign. I apologize.
You're like fucking Jerry Cooney over here. You're like moving the thing.
Yeah, but you guys didn't say shit to Jerry Cooney.
Oh, he did.
Well, he did, yeah.
He did.
Well, but that's his MO. I'm going to see if I can piss this guy off. Is that all right? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he's only 6'7" and a former professional fighter. That's all. Bobby, as you know, we take a question from our audience. This week's question comes from Salinas243, and it says, do you ever cut people out of your life, and how do you do it? And I know you have a certain way of avoiding people that just aren't your cup of tea. You just don't talk to them or engage with them. You said that before on the show. But I'm talking about somebody in your life that that is toxic, that's getting in the way of your life. Do you ever cut them out?
Yes.
And how do you go about doing that? And first of all, before you get that, what's the criteria where you get to the point where you just had enough?
It's usually real toxic. It's something that just doesn't work for me. Now, in the past, I may have just, like I navigated my way past it and just avoided that because I knew it was going to be bad at some point. And then if it did, the old me, I could get violent. I really could. Like, I could get really mean and nasty, so they would never want to deal with me again.
So you push them away more than you...
Yeah, I wouldn't, because I was always, it was usually somebody I was seeing because I was doing my bar rounds and hanging out all the time, and you're going to see people you don't like. And all three of us can know what that's like, and you just avoid them, right? Mm-hmm. You just fuck this fucking guy. And I'm thinking 900 people probably have said that about me. You know what I mean? So the same thing. They avoided me, but at times. But now, this version of me, I approach the situation. I'll talk to them. Can I meet up with you? Can we have a conversation? Or I'm busy. Okay, let's talk. I can't hang out with you anymore. I can't talk to you. Don't talk to me. Don't comment on my shit on social media, please. I don't like you. I'm very brutally honest. I'm like, I've done it to 2 people in the last 4 years. I just have no use for you. I know this is hard to take. Maybe you think I'm a scumbag. I am. Then let's just don't,
Was it an event, or was it something that was a process that
happened over time? A build up. It's never one thing. Yeah. Like him and I are friends since we were this big. And I'm sure there's been times when he was like, fucking Bobby, and you have your little mini, fuck you, or whatever. You just think whatever, but it never could get to that point because we're like this. These are people that are more acquaintances.
More on the periphery of
I've never, if I'm friends with you, I'm friends with you for the right reasons. I'm friends with you because it's in here,
that's
or where
Bobby.
is it? My heart. Oh, I don't really have a heart, but we'll make believe I do for the show.
That's Bobby 100% right there.
So I would tell them because I think you owe that to a person.
Especially if you've known them for an extended period of time. If it's somebody you knew a month.
I just can't do it anymore with this guy. It's just like, or something clicks in my head. And I can overreact. I mean, we all can. And, why? Who knows? But it's got to build up to a point. I just don't want this person in my life anymore. I'm going to tell them I don't, so then they'll know and they'll just leave me alone. Because the next step is who knows what.
Now, if that person were to come back to you and write whatever you found wrong with them at that time or multiple things found wrong, would you allow them back in?
No.
They're out, they're out.
They're out. It's just, listen, I made an executive decision. You're done. Nice essay. Apply it to something else in your life. You don't need me.
I've known you for quite some time. Mike obviously introduced us. And to hear you say that, knowing the type of person that you are, they really, for somebody to get to that point, they really had to do some shitty stuff.
It's mostly disrespect. Okay. For me, it's about respect. We bust balls more than anybody. I mean, it's never anything serious. The shit we say about each other's whatever.
We're
like,
demonetized now, so you can say whatever the fuck you want to say. Go ahead.
Like the stuff we've made comments about, like our loved ones, like anything. Nothing's off limits, right? Am I right?
100%.
But it's between me and you. Don't disrespect me. Don't. And it could be anything. It could be about my sobriety. It could be something like that. A joke's a joke. I'm all for it. People used to go, yeah, quitter. And I'd laugh. That's funny. There's shit funny, but then there's other layers that it's not.
Right.
And then I had certain people come up to me and just, dude, when are you going to cut out this non-drinking shit or stuff like that? And I'm like,
Bobby, you and that non-drinking shit.
Yeah, it's if it's something like if it's one of my best friends, I'm okay with it. You know what I mean? Just joking. But when you say it like a person means it, we all know the difference. We're cops. We have to. We've sifted through bullshit our whole lives.
You feel it in here more than anything
and
else.
that's one of them. But it's not just about that. It's just in life. People disrespect, and I don't want to be disrespected.
Yeah,
I earned fucking the right to be respected, I believe. I treat people with respect. And if you're going to consistently do it, then we're not going to get along. There's only two alternatives. I cut you out or I cut you off. You know what I mean? I'm going to... I still have I must say a dozen times a week, and I think it's good therapy. I'm going to knock that motherfucker. I want to, you know what I mean? And sometimes I get real angry, and I don't know why. I haven't figured that part out, but I never do it, and I'm never going to do it. But I just say it, and it helps me.
Yeah, I think.
And I know I could.
You get it out.
But why?
Mike, what do you think?
Well, just getting back to what Bobby was saying. Bob, we had a mutual friend who has since passed away. I'm not going to mention names. As soon as you got out of rehab, he called you and said, "Come on, why don't we go meet at the bar?"
That's fucked up.
Yeah. Oh, come on. It can't be bad. What's one drink going to do for you? Yeah, he has since passed away.
And that's a really hard thing to do because I hung out with this guy and he was a friend. He was a friend. I got to say, he had his real endearing qualities, but he was a mess.
Yeah.
But he was still a good person, and it was hard for me because I did a lot of so-called damage with him. But he was also there for me at times, and for me to cut him off, it was hard, but I had to.
That was more, I would assume that if he's saying something like that, he obviously doesn't respect you, and I think that speaks to what you were talking about.
I think it was more he didn't respect himself. I think people that don't respect themselves, they end up disrespecting everybody because they're so unhappy with their own life for whatever reason, and you just can't figure some people out. It's just, okay, it is what it is. I was a better person not to have him in my life, because it affected me differently. Listen, if I was still drinking and doing my thing, I probably would have said, it wouldn't have been an issue because he was somebody I always hung out with,
He was your drinking buddy.
Yeah, he was a drinking pal.
And he used to pay all the time.
Well, that was the best part. Yeah, he'd like to throw his money around.
Mike, how do you do it when you do finally get to that point?
What causes me to that point is people that are insecure, and they become kind of like pathological liars. They lie just to make themselves look better or lie to make you look worse. You know what I'm saying? So, I had this one guy. We hung out a bit, and it turned out he was a big Overkill fan. He was taking Overkill shows all the time. He got to know all the band and everything. Then I see his girlfriend one day, and I said, "Oh, yeah, we went to the Overkill show the other day." She goes, "Oh, yeah, he told me. He says he knows all those guys, and he takes you to the shows."
Nice.
And it was like just one, and there was other things that he had said.
It's a slap in the face.
And right away.
It's a little overkill.
No pun intended.
That's a lot of overkill. Right there, block his phone number, delete his phone number. I didn't have social media. I had, a email account. Blocked his email, everything else. Fuck that. You're done.
Just staring. Remember the old sayings our parents would say, don't stare a gift horse in the mouth.
Yeah.
And my old man used to say that, and I would be like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, what is that? Two birds and stone. But that's the thing. Like, you have a good friend, he takes you to overkill, doing all this stuff, and then you tell your girlfriend to make yourself look good. Oh, he said, I brought Mike on.
At least give me the respect of saying, hey, listen, I'm going to try to get
about
laid right here.
I don't have no use for a guy like that. Because what else would he lie about if it's something trivial like that?
So
we had just had a blown out fight. I told him, that's it. You're done. You're out of my life, everything else. Overkill at a show in Philadelphia. I was going down. He winds up calling Blitz, the lead singer, and says, hey, Bob, I got tickets. Could you get me backstage? Bob said, no. He said, Mike said, you guys don't talk anymore. He goes, Mike's my friend. He goes, me and Mike talk all the time.
Oh, okay. Well, did either of you ever lifeguard?
No.
Or take any?
I gave some people mouth to mouth.
Of course you did. If you ever went through lifeguard training, the first thing they teach you is be careful of going out and saving anybody because that person could ultimately drown you. So I have very few friends in my life. I have a very small group of really close friends, so I hold those people very dear. For me to cut somebody off that's because cutting somebody off in the periphery, it's not that difficult to me. But that core group of people that I have in my inner circle, cutting them off would be like cutting my arm off. But there are times that when I see them drowning and I'll throw them a lifeline and I will try my best to come and save them. But there becomes a point in that relationship where they're sinking you as well. Mm-hmm. That's the point where I say, I got to back off, man. I can't drown with you. You're drowning. I can't do this no more. And it hurts. It hurts me so bad. I avoid it with everything in my being, but there are certain times in my life where I got to say, this has become a really bad situation. And if I stick around any longer, I'm going to drown with you because you're going down. So that's, there's no good way to do it and never feels good. It never feels right. And I've only had to do that like a handful of times in my life. Thank God. But I never want to experience that pain again because it's like breaking up with a girlfriend.
I think
exactly.
I think when it's your inner circle, if somebody's in your inner circle, like in my inner circle's tight, his inner circle, you're both. We're all about the same, right? So we have a shitload of acquaintances. We've got a lot of people we run into. We're like, hey, you give them hugs. It's all great, but they're just an acquaintance, It's just you're a friendly. You're that guy. You're that guy, right? Then there's people that you love, right? You feel love for. I'm old enough now where I know who I love and who I don't love. There's that thing. So there's that inner circle. Those are the people I care about. Those are the people I'll never turn my back on. But sometimes you got to give tough love to every now and then. I had that happen to me. I needed it, and I got it from some people. They just told me how it was. I'm still your friend. I still love you to death. It's just this is the way it is.
So Salinas243, thank you for sending that question in. Keep sending in your questions, and we will try to get them on the air. Now, before we go any further, I want everybody out there to visit this nice little cafe at 234 Franklin Avenue in Nutley. It's called Cuban Cafe. Gus over there is a classically trained chef who absolutely makes everything by hand and puts his heart into everything that comes across that counter. So go to Cuban Cafe, 234 Franklin Avenue, and you're going to have some of the best Cuban food ever.
You won't be let down, believe me.
Well,
I've been there. It's fantastic.
I'm going over there real soon. I'm just going to sit down with Gus, have a cup of coffee, and talk about a lot of stuff.
Shoot the shit.
Yes. So, Bobby, we're obviously here to talk about the suffering of sobriety.
Yeah, we don't have to say. Tell us a little about yourself.
Yeah,
everybody out there knows all about Bobby already.
Well, that's why we were able to spend a little time on the social media question because everybody knows about Bobby. And guess what? People who know you even not in your circle, like, oh yeah, Bobby Crudele. I never hear a ball buster, great guy, but it wasn't always like that. You were just the ball buster guy because we're here to talk about the suffering of sobriety. Your sobriety journey is something to be marveled at, and it's something that I hope you're very proud of it. I know you're very proud of it. And others are around you as well, especially the people who cheer you on rather than try to pull you back down. So
crabs in a barrel.
Yeah. I really appreciate you coming in here and being vulnerable enough to open up, but I want you to give everybody just a little recap of your sobriety journey.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right.
No,
if you want to. I got
well-
stop drinking.
No. Without getting into crazy detail, I was a real heavy drinker. I had a lot of fun.
How many years we talking?
Where it was like abusive.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say about 15.
That's a long time.
And then I think the last 5 years, it was every day. And I'm not announcing it to anybody. And I think I've told you guys before, I used to wake up in the morning and I used to take the Tito's handle and
Because you didn't want the gluten, so you had to go with Tito's.
Yeah, well, I'm a Pt.1 guy, but my wife likes Pt.1. I mean, Tito's, so I would take a 10-second pull on it. And I would count to 10 while I was drinking, so that's about like 6 or 7 shots, right? To start my day off.
And that was
if I
just
going
to,
work. Just
to
to
normal
just to go
out.
to work. Even if I didn't have anything left, I would drink every day, but even if I didn't feel a little off. So I would do that, and then she would say, "Why does my Tito? Who's drinking all this Tito's?" Like, you and the girls were drinking it the other night. Stop. Whatever.
Did you do the alcoholic move where you keep a fresh bottle so that nobody really knew how much you were drinking and you just
No,
went
I
full
didn't
bore?
give a fuck about that. And I drank. I would stop about at 6 bars on the way home from work, and I was like, not always thinking about where I could get the next, drink. Like I was, okay, where could I go? Where could I go? I mean, I would call, I would text. I mean, I'd be out and I'd text Mike. I'd be like, I'm at Jimmy's or I'm at the Scots Club or I'm at wherever. Anybody just to come and hang out with me, it could be for 5 minutes. I didn't give a shit.
Did you go in the same bar to get your supply, or did you go to different bars to try to hide?
No, I just went wherever I wanted to go.
You were that blatant out in the open.
I didn't care.
You didn't. What brought about that not care attitude?
With the alcohol talking, probably.
I think it was, it's probably one of the things. Maybe, everybody drinks. No one drinks excessively for a reason, for just because they want to. I love this. I love feeling this way. I love slurring my words. I love acting like an idiot. I like yelling at people who don't deserve to be yelled at. I like I was a bully. I was a bully when I got drunk sometimes. I was a fun bully.
I've heard the stories.
I would pick on people. I would fucking pick on them. I'm lucky. I'm lucky that I have my career and everything, stuff that I did, but I was drinking for a reason. I got to that point because, it was all, you don't find out about this shit until you go for help, so I didn't need help. I don't need no fucking help. I'll be fine. I'll figure it out on my own. I'll dial it back. That's one way to do it. It is a way to do it. Alcoholics do not agree with that. AA does not agree with that. People who are hardcore in the groups. I think people can dial it back. I think they are just doing it for a reason, like some traumatic experience. You both are familiar with that. Everybody has PTSD that's involved in law enforcement, that's in the military. There's different levels of it, I mean, we're talking. He took someone's life. You almost got fucking killed. I had an array of shit happen to me. Who's got worse PTS? I don't know. I don't know what it's like to take a life. I sure as hell don't want to find out. I know that's very, very damaging. And it has to come out some way. You know what I mean? It has to. And for me, terrible childhood, the whole 9, going through life, regret. When I got to be an adult, I kind of acted out, I kind of found myself. All of a sudden, I was 6'2", 220 pounds, and I'm like,
He didn't act out as a teenager, no. He waited until his adult years
I'm in
when he could get locked up.
What's my reason? So there's for me, I was suppressing, hiding. It made me feel good. I don't have to think about anybody. I don't have to think about my kids. I don't have to think about my wife. I don't have to think about anything that's supposed to be important to me.
Well, you created a whole new Bobby by doing that, because you're not Bobby who came from the bad childhood or the other trauma that you had. You're fun Bobby. You're fun Bobby from Friends. You're the guy who goes out and can go toe to toe with anybody verbally and break their balls to. And it's a game, right? You break their balls until somebody cracks or gets pissed off, and that's how you know you won. But you're that guy who was the best at his business, and part of that was fueled by alcohol, and it all happens in bars, and it's a
that was a personified version of me. That just made I'm already like that. I will target someone. Now, obviously, I'm not going to hurt someone's feelings unless I don't like them. Then, if you want to engage, we can do it. I'm fine. But
drinking Bobby is like a higher octane normal Bobby.
yeah.
Because Bobby is Bobby. He'll break anybody's balls no matter what. But when he was drinking, there was nobody that was off limits.
And I remember like things like this is a good example of me. We'd be hanging
Talking
out.
about somebody's forehead?
Oh, no, that's not. I mean, I don't see why you got to bring that up.
I'm fucking up on stage and I'm like this the whole time.
I'll tell you what. You know how Axl Rose wears that bandana?
No,
Perfect for you.
that's Bret Michaels from Poison. That's his
They
thing.
all do,
Yeah.
and it's time for you. It's time. But in any event, I remember I was out with Mike one time. We were at Backstreets. I told him to come. I used to play darts. That was
Backstreets?
my thing, darts.
Backstreets?
Well, not that kind of Backstreets. It's not like the Blue Oyster.
It was
Relax
the Blue
yourself.
Oyster bar.
Could become kind of wonderful. Who knows? But anyway, I played darts. I loved anything that required drinking. I was good at. You want to play pool with me?
Darts.
I'm good. Darts. I'm good.
Cards?
Shuffleboard, anything.
Oh, the table shuffling.
You got to
Yeah.
drink to do this. If I don't know how to do it, I was very good at playing games, not just the mental games, the physical games. Like I could go bowling. I went bowling. I bowled like a 270. They're like, you don't even bowl. I'm like, it's easy. You just aim. You know what I mean? In any event, we were at Backstreets and Mitch came down and we were hanging out.
Mitch, the motorcycle guy?
Yeah. And
Yeah,
and we were all hanging out and they wanted to go somewhere really cool. They were like, let's go here. It's good and stuff. And I was like, nah, I'm going to. Oh, no, and I'm going to go somewhere. Like, I had to go off on my own.
He's like, you're not kidnapping me. He goes, I'm going to be home by the time you guys get home.
Yeah. And it's a lie. And I had to, at some point during the night, I had to be by myself. I just could never let it end. And that was because it felt good to me. And then obviously the next day, it didn't feel good. And that just got increasingly worse over the years. But then I would start drinking earlier. So I had alcohol in my blood constantly. And I was surprised, I'm really against using any of my past things that happened to me as an excuse. I feel like if we're hanging out and you just say the wrong thing to me and I walk up to you and say, listen, one more word, I'm going to knock your fucking teeth out of your mouth. You got good dental? I hope so. And then it happens. I'm not going to tell somebody the next day when I sober up, I got to get a grip on this PTSD. Because it's just fucking killing me. I can't use that as an excuse. I understand it's the reason, but I can't keep telling myself that that's what it is because then I'll continue to do it. And I figured that out on my own. I didn't need a therapist to tell me that.
At some point, it becomes you. Okay?
Yeah, it owns you. Now you're like
you
that
embrace
guy.
it.
I got a friend of mine that calls me occasionally, and every time he calls me, he tells me about how bad it is with his girl.